Andy, we've had a lot of fun shooting these videos over the course of these last few weeks, and I think we've been able to emphasize the importance of proper training.
Yeah, and we've emphasized how easy it is to overlook some of the simple things that you don't really realize are a part of affecting the shipments of hazardous materials.
That's right. And so as a trainer, it's extremely important to understand the training needs of your organization. General awareness, function-specific, safety, security, and sometimes in-depth security training may be required. But that training needs assessment is going to be extremely important for you to understand those folks in the organization that may meet the definition of a hazmat employee. And Andy, some of the job functions you performed certainly don't meet the job functions that you currently work in today.
Sure. And while it's the employer's responsibility to ensure that their employees are trained, it's the employee's responsibility to really feel comfortable with what they're doing with hazardous material shipments. I mean, myself, I only have experience as a manufacturer of packaging, but I've helped customers all across the board with identifying their materials, with actually creating the documentation, making sure they have the proper labeling, and all of that really needs to be encompassed in the training that the employees get.
And Andy, with all of the training resources out there, we know that training doesn't come one all in a box.
Right.
Yeah. So it's important, again, to understand the training needs of the organization for the employees that you're going to be training.
Yeah, and while we've only covered one mode of transportation in the 49 CFR, training is a bit more encompassing than that as well. There's the IMDG codebook, which covers vessel shipments over the ocean. There's the IATA, which covers the air transportation for hazardous materials. So there's a lot really to cover with regard to hazardous material training. And you really have to know exactly what you need with regard to what you're shipping and how you're shipping it.
And that's right. In Part 172, Subpart H, outlines all of the training requirements for training your organization. And Andy, as he pointed out, there are multimodal requirements for training, and it's important, again, to understand the modes of transport that are being shipped so that you can train under those modes.
And it's also important to understand that no matter how minimal your contact with the hazardous material process is, if you're doing anything in any way that affects a shipment, you're going to have proper training.
Absolutely. And I don't think there's one good definition for outlining who it is that needs training. And for us as trainers, Andy, it's important sometimes to take a more restrictive approach to training. At least that's the experience that I've had as a trainer. For folks in the organizations that don't feel like they need training, some of those employees do come across hazmat shipments on a daily basis and don't even realize it. And so if they're not able to identify shipments of hazardous materials, they don't know how to respond to what happens when shipments come in or go out, for that matter.
Right, and that can be a scary thought. People not even really realizing that they're dealing with a hazardous material without even the most basic level of training, not even knowing that they have to be trained.
Correct.
And again, while that's the employer's responsibility, we have to feel comfortable as employees that are dealing with hazardous materials that what we're doing is not only correct, but completely in line with the regulations, so that when we ship something, nothing's going to happen to it.
Sure. And we were having a discussion as we were shooting this video about being certified. And so the regulations don't really come out and say that a person should be certified. And I think that's one of the things in the industry that isn't understood. The regulations outline requirements for training and outline requirements for ensuring that employees are properly trained and have complete training for performing their job functions. So there isn't some big certification program that's in place for employees that ship hazardous materials.
And it's important that you're comfortable and you get trained by an organization that really understands these regulations thoroughly, because the regulations can be read in many different ways. And that's one of the reasons why the Sustainable Workplace Alliance has been given this grant and is offering this free training to really help people understand what they're doing, how they have to deal with hazardous materials, and what training encompasses.
And we've been focusing and emphasizing on shippers here, Andy, but we know that operators and those packaging manufacturers are also responsible for training their employees as well.
Really, anyone involved down the line, whether you're creating the product and having it shipped from your plant, whether you're just a middleman in transit, whether you're a freight forwarder, in any capacity, if you're dealing with the hazardous materials, there's a level of training that you need to go through.
As Andy mentioned, Sustainable Workplace Alliance did receive this grant to provide training to trainers, and a great resource to raise awareness. It's important, though, to take this training and customize it for the needs of your organization. And so for more information, you can contact Sustainable Workplace Alliance or see them on the website at www.sustainablewp.org. And don't forget,
That's why training is important.